Yo, welcome to the Table Talk podcast, where we sit down, pull up a chair, and we get started. This podcast is designed to provide you packed full of information to help you with your training, nutrition, lifestyle, and well-being, where we interview myself through case studies to give you lifetime experience. And then we also interview high-performing individuals or other career-focused people who are looking to make changes in their lifestyle, training, nutrition, and well-being. So let's pull up that chair and let's go. Yo. So let's dive into this week's live Q&A. Earlier than normal, reason being I'm studying or learning NLP. Big shout out to Kathy O for giving me this lovely gift, which is a little frustrating. Reason being is I apparently do a lot of these modalities or tools. They're now knowing it. It's my brain's like rewiring. Like shouldn't have said it that way. Should have done this. Should have done the what, why. Should have done the what with a chunk down to get more detail, then gone into a chunk down again into the how. Then you should have gone lateral to find other options, then should chunk up to create more purpose, and then work towards strategies and intentions, and then future pacing. It's super frustrating because brain's like, no, this doesn't make sense anymore. It's like, yeah, it does make sense on paper. Normally we'd be like, why are you doing that? How is it serving you? What can we do to change that? So yeah, just little tweaks and bobs, which my brain's just like, yeah, which leads me to be an effect, not cause, which is a bummer. For those that are wondering, effect is in an emotional state where you become reactive in the sense of, like, I wanted to start recording and I needed to re-enter all my passwords. So second identification, it's like, oh, of course, the day that I need to be on it is the day that everything just requires more time and energy. And it's like, oh my God. So yeah, living with cause, you're like, okay, it is what it is. Like I'm overly prepared. Like when you are going, you gotta go to the doctors and you're late for your appointment. You're rushing. You seem to get every traffic light or everyone gets in your way. So you're like reactive or in effect. So when you're early, you've got time, you're cruising through. Everything's just like, that was the easiest trip I had. So cause and effect. All right, so let's dive into this week where some easy questions have come through, which is, what is unique methodologies of program does Vitruvian Health offer that distinguishes us from traditional gyms? Well, traditional gyms don't offer training programs. Our style of programming is really tailored to individuals. So we typically will use a German body comp method. The reason for this is you have like two types of methodologies here, which is a upper lower split. So you can have one day that's all upper body and one day that's lower body. And we pair muscle groups that are opposing. So when you train your chest, you'll then work your back or a corrective. So you don't overload a certain muscle group. And each exercise is looking to complement one another. So for example, shoulder press, the more you can get extension, the easier it is to press. So typically we'll pair like press work with extension, or cobra, like the cobra, creating external rotation, getting trap 3, deeper muscles in the back to retract and hold, or a core exercise so you can lock and hold that in. The other one is where we'll do upper and lower together. So you do chest press and then you'll train quads. So you've got blood pumping through your body. So both work quite nicely in the sense of structural balance. The first one, more corrective and beneficial for people that may have any restrictions or limitations. So if you're a desk worker, you have kyphosis, but you want to train, but you want your training to improve from week to week, but also have an improvement in posture, and that's what we do, rather than, doing no correctives, all the things that you're meant to do, but it's boring. So pairing it together makes it more enjoyable. So you get what you want, and then you do the thing that you need to do, rather than do all the things that you want to do, and then at the end of your workout, go, nah, I'll go on. Another methodology, which we don't tend to use as much, because we tend to work with a lot more of the structural work, but we have other ones is for people that feel like with motor control, they just don't have it. So they rush, they always get injured, and they're constantly in pain. We use this slow tempo method. I haven't used this one for a while because I haven't had any assessments where people have fallen over. If you're someone who you feel uncomfortable, awkward, really lack a balance, I highly recommend reach out and look, I'll do a call with you and I'll talk to you through the slow tempo method. If you're like, I'd rather not, just tell me now, sure. Slow tempo method is, for example, say bicep curl, you're going to go 8 seconds up, do, 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 and then 4 seconds down. So you're working on the mind-muscle connection. And a lot of people are like, it's a myth. Well, if you are more conscious and aware of how that muscle works, you end up maybe going slower. And then what will happen is, sorry, I got distracted because I've got greens on my finger. And I'm like, is that poo? No, it's greens. It's greens powder. It's green. It's not brown or black. Wouldn't do that if it was poo. So yeah, I'm now doing a green shake in the morning with aminos, greens, cacao, cinnamon. It's called like the Green Giant. It's for an inflammatory protocol. The idea is just to chill the body out. So that is another question. What is it I do in the morning? I now do green shakes with aminos in the morning. So it's light on the stomach. I can train straight away and then I eat a meal after. So back to the slow tempo method, building that awareness and control. It also increases time and attention on the muscle, which also is another way of stimulating hypertrophy. And most people, so I even use this for people that have trained for years, because when was the last time anyone ever did 8 seconds up? Never. So, because we're always told to be as explosive as possible. So I actually give that to people, and then I give them a program with 1 up, 3 down, and they feel completely different. So there's a few ways of training methodologies that we use to begin with, and then we work towards kind of where their goal is. If it's fat loss or hypertrophy, typically they're the same thing, though we tend to favor more nutrition in the diet sense for fat loss, and then for hypertrophy more metabolic conditioning. Fat loss has more metabolic work, though you can still do it for hypertrophy. We then work more of a surplus with the males. Though most people we work with, we end up getting them to eat more and they lose weight too, because if you eat more of the right foods, you eat more of it, your body responds better. So what's good for you goes out, and what's bad for you kind of stays in. So we get rid of more nourishing food. We give them more nourishing food, so there's more good stuff, and so the body flushes it out. How do you stay on track with your personal training with these tips? I have a document. The chili is up to, there's only one document. It's up to 404 points. And I have a gentleman called Chris. Hello, sir. He literally stays on top of this. So pretty fortunate to have this guy part of my life. And that is how I stand up all these tips. From a training perspective, though, I also have another spreadsheet that is, I think, 100 notes. We've refined it to 77 points, and it's literally just a journey of people that we work with, and the first 12 weeks. The first 12 weeks is the most important with working with anyone, which is understanding control, full range of motion, how their body works. A lot of the time, I remember training Dr. Mason, and she was just having a really hard time with deadlifts, and I'm like, she needs to do like grip the floor with her feet and spread the ground. She's like, I just don't get it. And then Eddie comes over and he's like, you just need to spread the floor. And she's like, oh my God, I got it. And I'm like, oh, how? I said the exact same thing. So in the 12 weeks, we work through the fundamentals. And so we can use this similar language with everyone that we work with. Because at the same time, it won't work for everyone. I'll say it won't work. But then there'll be similarities with other coaches. Yeah, and I'm saying grip the floor, spread it. Eddie comes around, forgets about the feet, just goes, spread the floor. And then she gets it. So similarities, said slightly differently, may resonate with people. So having that clear 12-week process that outlines the fundamentals, programs, sets, reps, when we talk to people when life gets busier or people overload themselves, then we're able to easily talk to them. Like the other day, we had Hebler, who she she's like, what's the plan for the week? She's like, oh, I'm going to party. I'm going to have a good time with my friends. Just don't want to drink as much. It's like, okay, that's cool. However, and it's not about, most people would be like, don't drink, it's bad for you. For her, it was more a point of, hey, well, just to check in, what if you gave yourself permission to have a good time? What would happen? Well, I probably wouldn't drink much anyway then. I'm like, cool, let's not set intentions. Let's just acknowledge that we want to have a good time. If we do drink more than we do, we drink more than what we do. So let's just not set a restraint in place. I must do this. Like people do this with weight loss journeys all the time. Cut calories, don't eat that. What are you thinking about? Eating that. So giving self permission. So when we coach across as a team, it's okay. We let people know that it's okay. It'll be all right. Even if she does drink more, it's like, cool. Well, how did you feel? Actually, I had the best time with my friends, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. So it wasn't the alcohol that made it the best time. No, it was actually, the connections that I made and da, 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 da. So, okay, cool. And then you can then dive deeper on it because you've given people permission to do what they really want to do. You can find out more. Sometimes people just don't want to do it. Cool. Easy. All right, let's dive into the next one. So big shout out to Chris. He keeps on top of it, and I have a document that does it all because, I got a brain that just races and races and races. Like if I open right now, I've got 3 now. Oh my gosh. That's pretty scary. I have a to-do list, like a mind dump. So it is 41, 126. 33 program ideas. So it's broken up into questions to film, useful resources, project ideas, contacts, admin, research, Karl to do. Got another one. Whoa. There's like 50 there. Educational posts and concepts and ideas. So across these are on average about 100. That's gross. My brain will do a lot. And then I also have a Asana. So shout out to Mary who manages that and makes sure it's up to date. Go into that. Projects and tasks. Another one. Yeah, there's like 40 things right here. One of them says get organized. Oh, I love it. So I have a lot of things that go through my head, but really I remind myself what are the fundamental things, which is really to help serve people. And I can't get to everything at once. So it's really cool working with the team to empower them. So, and those things take time. So working with them and what is their biggest challenge first, and then work on that so we can scale and move forward. All right. That's tangent. So let's go into, could you discuss the potential impact of a TMAD, 2 meals a day, on blood regulation, insulin sensitivity, particularly for individuals with metabolic disorder? Metabolic disorder is not a thing. People say it is, so let's type it up. Metabolic disorder, people say it's a thing. Metabolic disorder is a group of conditions that together raise your risk of coronary heart disease, diabetes, stroke, and other serious health problems. Metabolic syndrome is also called insulin resistance syndrome. So, call a spade a spade. I'm not a doctor, so this is all educational reasons, but metabolic disorder is not something that I believe because it's not a disorder. Your metabolic function is compromised. Something you're doing is not helping it. Like, you're fucking it up. However, over a spectrum of time, you didn't have it right away, did you? So it's something that's happened over time. It's not disorder. It's challenges. Like challenges have occurred over time and they've compounded and it's led to more stress on your body. So, metabolic damage, you just have lower NEAT than what you ingest. So you're getting fatter. And I can say this because I used to be like, I've got metabolic disorder from comp prep. No, you used to do 2 hours of training a day, 4 hours of cardio every day. So that's 6 hours of movement plan. So you're burning like 4,000 or 5,000 calories strategically. You're eating 1,200 calories. You're not taking in enough nutrients to help your body recover from all the stress. And this is what's led to these disorders and metabolic damage. Well, if I had strategically slowly decrease the stress on my body and slowly increase the nourishment of my body, I probably would be in a better condition. Thus, probably this is a big reason why we do what we do at Vitruvian Health, because I've gone through it. messed my body up. Oh man, I've gone from 70 kilos like shredded, like damn, 3.6% body fat. It's like 110 and miserable. Like compare these two pictures. That's like shredded me, and that's me with like half my hair shaved off. I'm happy. Yeah. And then me sticking my tongue out with greens because I was trying to get back onto the bandwagon and just doing all the healthy stuff, though not really training consistently, not sleeping properly. Like 5-6 hours is fine. No one ever got improved function from 5 hours of sleep. They actually did a study on it. It's pretty cool. 1.6 million, statistically incredible numbers, which was 0. So yeah, funny on that end. So the TMD, 2 meals a day, can help people improve regulation sensitivity, because what it can do is you may find you wake up in the morning, you don't want to eat, though by midday you want to gorge. So instead of having 4 small meals because it can't satisfy your hunger, you do 2 big meals, and that creates satiety or satisfaction. So by doing that, you're able to manage like maybe the overeating. So if it works for some people, then yes, but some people 3 or 4 is more ideal. Some people like little snacks, as long as you're able to maintain the calories and you're not having cravings. Now, insulin resistance is actually from muscles not utilizing glucose control. So if you're someone sitting there like, I don't really want to train, but I have this resistance, just flex as hard as you can, your quads squeeze, and then relax. And what you're doing is you're forcing a contraction that can open your insulin receptor site. Think of it this way: your muscle, boop, and it's got little like pipes coming out of it, and your body will break down glucose and put it into the muscle to use for energy. Though it's like there's little cones being put on it, cones or hats, it won't be able to get in because it's full. No thanks. So your body is less receptive to glucose or utilizing insulin, because insulin is what picks up the glucose and transports it. Now, if the muscle is not available, guess what you have in your body? Yep, fat. So it'll store it in that. So that is the thing to be mindful of. So some people works 2 meals a day, some don't. I will fluctuate between 3 and 4. At the moment, I'm doing a training presentation. Like it's 8 till 6 p.m., quite full on. We get 3-minute breaks. It's rough. So I literally am just snacking, like work. Like we're doing I'm doing the greens. I do a shake when training. I then come back. I have another shake, which is proteins and fruits in a kai. Because if I'm eating solid food, I'm not really going to pay attention in the event. So that's why I do shake. Then 2 hours later, I get peckish. So then I do beef jerky with corn chips. And then 2 hours later, we get a 7-minute refuel. So we're 4 hours into the event. I'm like, great, thanks. 7-minute refuel. So I put a meal in the microwave for 3 minutes, heat it up, and then I just munch on that. If we go into breakout rooms, then I just put the food to the side so it doesn't get cold. That's annoying, but is what it is. Then I'll snack again like 2-3 hours after that. And then I did some oats with fruit. And then Kate came home and she ate half of it. But then I wasn't as, didn't feel uncomfortable in sleeping. And then I did, I was doing a coffee at 3 o'clock, decaf, and then I had like a few pieces of chocolate with it. So just munching through. And that's just what works well, so I can maintain level-headed. Some people would be like, no, I prefer this. Like I know a friend of mine, he does not, when he does events, he'll only do amino shakes. He won't do anything else. He wants to feel light. He wants to feel like on edge, ready for everything. So it's finding what works for you and what situation. What role does consistent aerobic exercise play in enhancing insulin sensitivity, and how does it differ from resistance training? Cardio or aerobic activity will only really improve like your energy expenditure in that moment. You really need to be focusing on high intensity interval-based training. So cardiovascular or aerobic exercise is about improving your aerobic capacity. So improving the heart and the function. You still can burn glucose, but about 60% intensity, you're burning more of your fat stores as energy, because that contains more calories, so it's more ideal. That's why a lot of people like do low intermittent steady state cardio to burn fat. But if you wanted to burn glucose, you need to be pushing at a higher intensity for it. So you could be doing fartlek training, fartlek, say run 200 meters quite fast, and then slowly jog or walk 600 meters, and you alternate between that. So there's a few things there. That's a pretty open-end question. Chris, we can put that one to the top. That'll be another one to add into. Debunk the myth. Running late for the gym is an effective warm-up. Let me say that one. Running, running, late for the gym is an effective cardio warm-up. Running does not equal warm-up. They're spelled differently. Warm-up is WARMUP. So no. Ta-da, that was a quick one. And what does... So just to unpack that, when you're running, you haven't like warmed up ligaments and tendons for running anyway. So there's a high risk of injury to that. Though if you were running to do like in your workout, then I would actually lightly jog. Then when you get to the gym, jump on the treadmill, run a little bit faster, and then do some running. So you could, but most people when running late for the gym, they actually aren't thinking about warm-ups. And when they say it's a warm-up, no. In what ways does Vitruvian Health emphasize on personalized nutrition and lifestyle integration differ from generalized nutritional advice in other gyms? Gyms don't give nutritional advice. They don't have someone in their team who's done a nutrition dietetics diploma. So hello. So when we work with people in their nutrition and lifestyle, we actually start with a reflection process. What is it you currently do? Because most people, like so many people hard themselves. Like, I've got to do a diet. I've got to change this. It's like, cool. Well, let's look at your day-to-day life. Oh, you sleep 6 hours. Well, maybe get 7 hours of sleep, because we can change your nutrition, but that effective sleep is actually affecting your insulin sensitivity. So you're always going to be in a resistant state, which makes fat loss harder. So it doesn't really matter what you eat. Someone could be super stressed. Like, I remember like Kate, it's going from being a lawyer to associate. The work she was doing, and we did a we did a chocolate brownie fudge protocol every day. She ate it. She lost weight because we were able to counter the stress. I don't recommend that for everyone, but I ended up using for a lot of females for 5 days, and they all lost weight. And I was like, what was going on? Because they all enjoyed it. However, on the 6th day, every single one of them was like, this is impossible. I should be eating fat. What had happened? Day 6, they put on weight. So annoying. So annoying. Like, could you have not just like appreciated that you were eating the food? That would have been so good. It would have been so much better. But it is what it is. So that was a fun one. So yeah, we tailor and work with people individually and work on what the lifestyle is. I've got a bunch of nutrition plans. It's like eat 1,200 calories. I don't think I've used them in years. I don't think I've ever used them. I made them and I was like, this would be a great template to use. And then I was like, no. So everything's personalized. Debunk the myth. Long hours of cardio are the best way for women to achieve a slim figure. Genetically, if you are designed, sure. Though lifting weights, if you want that slim figure, actually that comes from a V taper. You actually want to build your lats and build your glutes, and that will create the that slim figure that you're looking for. So actually training and lifting weights will benefit. Then you can argue that it is dependent on also the genetics of the person and the way you lift. So like for some people, when they squat, they actually thicken their waistline. So then I wouldn't squat. So yeah, depending on the person. The next myth: women should do different exercises than men for best results. Yeah, because everyone's different. So it depends on the body and also their biomechanics. So like I have like her Brianna, she can squat like in any position, feet together, feet apart, but when with load, hip pops. So we have to actually adjust the stance and also the range. For me, I can't squat in any of those positions. So For me, I need to be focusing a lot more on ankle mobility and hip mobility before I train. Brandon doesn't. So there you go. Kate, I'm sorry, bitch. She'll be like, why are you struggling so much? I'm like, you know exactly why I'm struggling. She'll be like, really? And I'm like, so like there'll be this thing called internal rotation and my leg's like this and you're meant to get 45 degrees and she'll just be like, that looks really hard. She's got like 80-degree internal rotation. I'm like, you having fun? She's like, yep. So yeah, everyone's training programs. So yes and no, because some people will also just do similar programs, though their technique and setups will be slightly different. How does grip strength not only benefit physical performance, but also contribute to injury prevention? Like everyone hates doing hangs, though there's like a correlation to improve grip strength and longevity of life and health. So we give it to everyone. Also, like if you can't even hang on to your own body weight, what happens if you fall? You're not gonna be able to catch yourself. So like people need to really work on the grip strength because these muscles, when weak, will downregulate strength through your shoulder. So then you're going to like tighten up here to compensate for that. So it's like just get stronger grip. So yeah, plus if you want to grip or grab a heavier weight, you're going to need a stronger grip. If you don't have it, it's going to be really hard. That's why like when people do pull-ups, they'll do this. It's not a pull-up. That's just cringing on the bar. Boom, shoulders back and down. Also, break down the movement. Do you want to look like this when you leave the gym, or do you want to look like this? Everyone's going to say, I want to look like chest up, shoulders back and down. Then do the pull-ups properly. Get your grip stronger. Like your back and lat should hurt, not your forearms. All right, round done. So what prescriptions and recommendations should individuals with heart conditions follow when engaging fitness programs, and how can exercise be tailored to their specific needs? Yeah, great question. Number one, get your blood pressure checked. Talk to your doctor in the sense of like cardiovascular health, work on improving cardiovascular, and with training, work on like 2 to 3 reps close to failure. So you're not like tanking yourself. And I don't recommend doing plate loaded leg press because it really overloads your body. Presses on the vagus nerve. Also compound movements to start with like structural balance correctives and then working on nutritional changes. Probably have a high trans fat diet, deep fried foods. If you don't and you're like, I'm eating really healthy, probably compound over time. It will get better. Just monitor your blood pressure. Also, red wine contains polyphenols, can be a contributor to help. So yeah, check that one out. How does structured fitness regimes or routines contribute to low blood pressure, improving cholesterol? Well, said it above, structure will definitely help. You need to check and monitor that it is working. So if it goes up, for example, this how leg press is not ideal because it does bring up blood pressure. So not something to work on. Another one on grip strength, which we've gone through. So I highly recommend that people just get better at hangs. Also with hangs, when you hang onto a bar, it actually dequaps and lengthens you out. So it improves, it's good mobility and stretch drill at the end of a workout. Can you address the misconception on spot reduction to a viable method? This one's great because like technically, like everyone's like, there's no such thing as spot reduction. However, like if you train your biceps or your quads or your abs, you're sending blood to that area. Blood transports fatty acids. So technically, in that moment, you are spot reducing. Now, the thing is, the human body is smart. Like, if it was true that if we only train biceps, our biceps got shredded, then everyone would be doing it. Like the human body would have evolved to that point. Though it has worked out that you mobilize fat, the body likes to stay regular. Within 24 hours, it's going to put it back. Like it'll take some fat from your calf and put it in your bicep. Like the body will work out how to maintain homeostasis. The thing is over time is to make little changes over time to create that new norm of homeostasis for you, which is a leaner physique. So yes, you can spot reduce in the moment, though within 24 hours, you'll be like your bicep will be back to kind of what it was. So it's just over time. you can manage it. You can also, through body composition assessments, work out with where people's bodies responds. So like you can come in, do a body comp assessment with us, and we literally can tell you where you're storing your fat and how, and you will tell me yes, no, maybe, and we work out kind of strategically what's going on, make 1 or 2 changes and see how the body responds. So like we had a lady who's preparing for a wedding. She was eating, I think, 50 grams of carbs. We got her up to 250 grams of carbs, and her back and her like figure, her waist got leaner. Her legs didn't. They were like just dropping a little bit, but by increasing her food intake, so she was eating 4 slices of sourdough toast, like extra, and she was getting leaner in her upper body. I was like, what worked for her? Now there is a point where then it wasn't working anymore, so then you had to make different changes and interventions. But for her, that's what worked, and she looks great. I actually saw her in an image, and I was like, who is that person? I was like, oh, damn, her back looks really good. So big shout out to Dan Chua. Great work there, and Eddie for getting her prepped for her wedding. She looks great. She knows it. She knows it. Very good. Could you explain the concept of target heart rate during exercises for individuals with heart conditions and how? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't talk about targeted heart rates. It's not really my area. I look this up every time. So like if you look at the chart, it's probably popping up near my face. You've got like 100 to 90, 90 to 80, 70 to 60, like 60 to 50%. And there's different thresholds. So get a device. Don't guess it. Don't be running and like, it's 150 divided by, okay, that's 60%. I should go faster. Like, just get a Garmin, an Apple Watch. Get a watch that's going to read your heart rate for you, or jump on a cardio machine and like hold the handles and work that out. I personally, I keep around 60% intensity, which is where it's a light sweat. I can still have a conversation with someone, and that's how I would track the heart rate, because that's the fat burning zone. I'm not a cardiovascular coach. If someone wants I'm making a running program for someone. I work on intensities. So like go at about 80% intensity based off what you feel. And if your speed is going up and up and up, and you're noticing your blood pressure is going down, then it's working. That's probably the level of detail I put into it, because that's not my area of expertise, though I do have an understanding of it. It's just like weight training with training someone, though I would just need to spend more time on that. So shout out to Jack Smith. He's like, this is his area. Like, I love chatting with him about it. He's always like, you should come with us. I'm like, no, I will go train biceps and arms and back and legs and my calves. So as if I was running, though I will just do the weights. So this is his bread and butter, and this is what he loves. So if anyone did want me, like, this is the guy I would go to. And I talk with him. Or Jordan Roberts, who's actually a professional A-grade soccer player. So he's like paid to be cardiovascular fit. So he's the go-to guy. Him and Jack are the guys that I go to for that. Another myth. I love it. Can you debunk the myth of sweating excessively during a workout is reliable? No, it is not. And I won't even finish the question. Is it a reliable indicator for weight training, effective workouts? No, some people actually sweat more than others, and some don't. Like, that's I used to think like it can be like it's a health thing. So some people like may have an underlying health risk factors that they might not be aware of. Though also some people just have less pause. Like dogs don't sweat, they just do this. And some people, what do they do when they're like really hot? Because they're expelling heat from the body. So yeah, that is an interesting one on sweat. It's just a cooling mechanism for the body. So it's just a body cooling down because you're overheating. So you could be a hot body or a cold body. If you're a cold body, you're probably not going to sweat very much. So it doesn't mean that you're having an effective workout. Like your muscles are still working. You're just a cold body. Maybe you're already an effective cooler. Please, I wish I was that person. I really do hate going to bed because it is hot and I can't sleep. So if you have an aircon or a fan, happy days. Are there specific types of exercises such as low impact activities or flexibility exercise that are recommended for promoting joint health and reducing inflammation? That is a good question. Reducing inflammation in individuals with rheumatoid arthritis. GBP, General Body Prep, that is a program that we combine gymnastics protocols. So where GBC, we had structural balance and the main exercise, we now have like corrective and then gymnastics, which is joint health. So improving joint function. So yin yoga, holding poses for a long period of time, works the ligament and connective tissue to open up. To reducing inflammation, working on the nutrition, vegetables, things that are pro-inflammatory, fish oils. Some people don't do fish oil, algae, finding what works for you to decrease the inflammation. Pretty much all of us are in an inflammatory response. We used to live in a world of 1 to 4, so omega-3s to omega-6s. Now it's 1 to 100. So a lot of our food doesn't have a lot of the quality fats and the oils in it. So supplementing good quality fats in the diet can help. If you're like me, flexibility wise, I have to stretch at nighttime. I'm just really tight. So it just making it part of your lifestyle. So it just works on opening that up over time. And if you've got rheumatoid arthritis, I'm really sorry. Though I believe that by strengthening the body through full range of movement, that strength will slowly improve over time. So your strength and your mobility will improve too. You may be just really beat up and tight at the moment, and it's just something that takes time. When training, understand we typically talk about progressive overload should be able to help in week to week. For those people, I'd say maybe every 2 to 3 weeks, though you can still progress more through reps and pauses, which may help with the stretch at the end range. So looking at progressive overload, not just through weight, but through the movement and repetitions. Alrighty, debunk the myth again. Women's bodies are not designed for high intensity training. Really? That's a question? That's a myth? Really? Women's bodies are not designed for high intensity. Like, who said that? That's just what? How? Like, my brain is broken. Like, how is that a myth? Like, women train as hard as sometimes harder than men. Like, what? Yes, women's bodies are not designed. No, that is a false myth. Women's bodies are designed and actually can train as hard as men's, though they might not be able to lift the same weight, but relatively it's the same weight, and they actually can recover faster because they actually have a high level of estrogen. So that was a great question at the end. Broke my brain a little bit. That brings us to the end of the Q&A. Just jumping through, there are no questions or points. So till next time, adios, amigos. Hey, thanks so much for joining the episode of Table Talk today. We hope you found some helpful tips and inspiration in staying healthy and fit, even with a busy schedule. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Stay tuned for our next conversation. Until then, keep prioritizing yourself, your health, your fitness, and we'll see you on the next Table Talk.